I have 24 Trump 2028 hats. His folks keep sending me.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, one thing is becoming very evident. There is a gaping hole in the Democrat Party. We're currently seeing a leadership vacuum that's so massive that it can't be hidden anymore. It can't be ignored anymore. And it's funny because the Democrats are always going on and on trying to convince us that they're the party of credibility, right? Everybody I disagree with is utterly corrupt.
It's not just that Trump is corrupt, it's that everyone participating in this is corrupt. Elon is corrupt, Jeff Bezos is corrupt, Mark Zuckerberg is corrupt in participating in this scheme that we all know everyone's just trying to look the other way because who really cares, right? And it's this idea of cynicism. It's this idea that no one cares about fairness anyway. No one cares about the rules anyway. So who cares if we break them?
Everybody except for me is corrupt. Well, I find that interesting. You know, this notion that the Democrats are the only credible people in politics, it's kind of interesting to try to maintain that narrative when clearly they're going through a crisis of credibility. They've got no leader with enough credibility, enough charisma to carpe diem to seize the day and lead the Democrats into the next election. I mean, the Democrat Party seems like a chicken with its head cut off. I got a bunch of really interesting things to show you guys that I think all kind of helps build this point. But before we get into any of it, this video is actually brought to you guys by a sponsor, so let's first play that clip. This video is brought to you guys by Ground News. What can I say about Ground News other than it's the best news aggregator on the planet? And in my view, it's one of the most important tools that you can have right now in this information war. And here's exactly why. The media picks and chooses which stories you even get to hear about, and Ground News cuts through the selective coverage, and best of all, exposes that bias in real time with their incredible blind spot tool. Let me show you the perfect example. You know, the left really thought they had something with the Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ad. Well, I guess here's the reality check. Just 12% found the Sydney Sweeney ad campaign offensive. And that's some pretty useful information, but it's also information that just simply isn't getting to the left because left-wing outlets are not covering it. And that's what the Ground News blind spot tool does. It basically shows you the story that the mainstream media doesn't want you to see. Well, that and so much more. It's just a fantastic website, folks. And if you guys are as sick as I am of being spoon-fed the half-truth from these fake news stories, well, then you gotta get Ground News in your arsenal. And obviously, here's the pitch if you guys are interested. We've teamed up with Ground News to give you guys an exclusive offer. Simply scan the QR code on screen or go to the link down below in the description. That's ground.news/hivemind, and you'll get access to 40% off their Vantage plan, which is their top premium subscription tier. What are you waiting for? We're in an information war, and you simply gotta have the weapons in your arsenal. And Ground News' blind spot tool, I mean, boy, is that a weapon. All right, folks, so Kamala Harris was supposed to be the next big thing, the shatterer of glass ceilings. Never mind the devastating loss in 2024, it wasn't her fault, as Mark Cuban lectures us.
When I was campaigning with Kamala, her biggest problem was her campaign would not let her sell. She's not a bad salesperson when you talk to her one-on-one, and she's smart, she's driven, but they did everything as if it was all driven by a consultant, which it was. And you can't be that way in a world with Donald Trump.
The issue wasn't Kamala Harris's absolute sheer incompetence and constant low IQ displays. No, the issue was her staff and the consultants. Well, it's an interesting notion, but I'm not sure the markets agree. Friends, Kamala Harris has fallen like a rock. And this little point of data might be the most embarrassing moment yet. This is the de facto Democrat leader right now. The betting markets, Polymarket, now have Donald Trump, who is technically, constitutionally ineligible to run. They have him polling higher for 2028 than Kamala Harris. Just think about that. A man who can't legally run, at least as we understand right now, according to the markets, has a higher probability than supposedly the most qualified person to ever run for office. At least that's what they told us in 2024. Holy frickin' moly, I mean, talk about a nosedive. And I guess it explains why the DNC pulled the plug on her. She got the call from her bosses, it's over. But of course, as we know, like in any cartel, when one criminal overlord dies or is arrested, it creates a power vacuum for the next scumbag to try to jump in, to try to fill that void. And so who do we have now? We got Gavin Newsom, who continues to prove that he is exactly what we describe him as, a cringy, disingenuous, low 30s favorability loser. I mean, this is the guy that Democrats really think is gonna lead them to victory in 2028.
I'm absolutely
2028.
You've seen it. He tried to steal the last election. He's trying to rig it in plain sight.
This absolute clown who is clearly acting, he obviously doesn't believe the words that he's saying. Donald Trump is gonna end democracy by 2028. You know, sure, Gavin Newsom is from California, but I'll tell you, this guy's got no freaking Hollywood in him. I mean, such obvious bad acting. And then during that same event, he went on to claim that world leaders were mocking Donald Trump behind his back.
I've had the privilege of meeting a lot of foreign leaders. I've had a chance
What's the
to visit
general,
them.
if not putting...
They're laughing behind his back. That did not happen. I'm making this clear.
They're telling...
Do not conflate what I just said with the meeting I had with the Denmark delegation.
It wasn't them. Other foreign leaders are laughing.
I've had dozens and dozens. Ambassadors, met with him.
What are they saying?
They're laughing behind his back. He's being played everywhere. It's an embarrassment.
The world is laughing at Donald Trump. He's being played. Yeah, okay, sure, bud. This guy's obviously such a lying, disingenuous hack. It's unbelievable. As if Donald Trump is being played. Trump's locking in the most beneficial trade agreements in modern American history. And this guy has the audacity to make the claim that he made? Give me a frickin' break. And even if it's true, who frickin' cares? I mean, we remember the last time world leaders laughed at President Trump. We all remember the infamous moment where Germany's UN delegation laughed in President Trump's face. Well, who got the last laugh there? The Democrats are in a moment of crisis. They've done everything to stifle democracy in their party, and here they are just endlessly recycling the same no-talent hacks over and over again, expecting things to magically change. All of a sudden, Gavin Newsom's going to become popular. Never going to happen. I mean, the guy that they're shilling, the guy that they're pushing, as we covered yesterday, is polling lower than someone else in early Democrat primary polling numbers. Yet here he is, soaking up all the oxygen in the room. It's a complete farce. And everything they're doing is obviously cringy and most importantly dishonest. You know, Gavin Newsom during that same event also made the claim that Donald Trump is wrecking the country.
I'm not going to submit myself to niceties. Not when this guy's trying to wreck our goddamn country.
It's so clearly fake and performative, and I'm sitting here questioning, I mean, who actually believes this stuff? Especially with these kind of reports coming in.
3% was our last look. It now jumps up to 3.3%. But from a comp basis, that would still be the best quarter since September of 23, third quarter of 23. Consumption, always important in a consumption economy. It remains strong. 1.4, our first look. 1.6, our modified look. 1.6 will be the best consumption since the last quarter of 24 when it was well above. It was at 4%. Now, the pricing index, and maybe this has more relevance considering all the issues of the day the press is on with the Fed, well, it remains at 2%. No changes there.
Donald Trump's destroying the country. How many times have we heard them claim that he's bringing the American economy down? Well, I don't know. Q2 GDP being revised up to 3.3% and inflation being revised down to 2%, exactly at the Fed's target. We got markets pumping, global trade deals being made, and now crime is falling under federal crackdowns, not to mention the success that he had on the southern border. This is the guy that's destroying the country? Give me a break. Obviously, Democrats are stuck in this very awkward position where they simply cannot operate in reality. They cannot operate on the truth. No, they just have to continuously feed the leftist grievance monster. And actually, speaking of that, I got some really interesting data I want to show you guys. Take a look at this. Here's a Gallup poll that's showing the widest partisan gap in modern American history. We got a survey that covered American satisfaction with the United States by party identification. Republicans answered that they're 76% satisfied, with Democrat respondents clocking in at 0%, the lowest ever. You got a booming economy, you got things going well. I think you can only describe it as the revitalization of America. And every single Democrat is miserable and refuses to accept any of it. It's a grievance monster. This is a very clear phenomenon, and obviously, this is exactly what Gavin Newsom is trying to take advantage of.
Wake up, everybody. Wake up.
Let me ask you about a couple.
And I know it's impolite. We have to be more calm and demure.
Couple of your
but I'm not calm.
Obviously, Gavin Newsom has realized this. He's realized the Democrat base is miserable and just wants their miserable confirmation bias confirmed over and over again, confirmed endlessly. And so he feeds them the delusion. It's the perfect situation for a sociopathic narcissist to take advantage of. And well, that seems to be exactly what's happening. You know, that's the state of the Democrat Party. This is what they're left with. Kamala Harris, who's totally dead weight. I mean, literally less electable than a man who can't even legally run. And now in comes Gavin Newsom, their replacement plan. Obviously, he's not any better. In fact, he might even be worse. You know, Democrats seem to be in quite the predicament. And while they've got a couple years to find a solution, I don't think Gavin Newsom is that solution. But knowing how the Democrat machine generally operates, obviously, any actual grassroots talent is going to be totally suppressed. And so I think Gavin Newsom is what they're going to be forced with, just like they were forced with Kamala in 2024, just like they were forced with Joe Biden in 2020, and just like they were forced Hillary Clinton in 2016. There's a void of leadership in the party, and the establishment is filling that void. And well, we know how that generally ends. And now just imagine how it's going to end, considering the Democrats are in the weakest position they've been in decades. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.